Hello everyone, this is Tim, and it is Tuesday, the 21st of June, and I am currently along the Brown Creek Trail in the Redwood Forests of California. And I kind of consider this the grand finale of my trip, at least the part of it in California, although I'll still be here again tonight. I'll be staying in Crescent View. But this place is simply unbelievable. These trees are just gigantic. I took some still pictures and they don't fit in the camera. Like, you can't take a picture of the entire tree. It's just absolutely amazing. And it's this particular trail. When I arrived here, I pulled into a visitor center that's a few miles down the road and talked to one of the park rangers about some of the more popular trails here, and they recommended this area. And it turns out this is like the big tourist attraction in the forest. I was kind of concerned, would I find a place where I can have some privacy to make a video? When I got here, the parking lot, I was fortunate to find a parking space at all. You get out of your car and you don't even walk a quarter of a mile, and there's this, what is called the big tree. It's just one particular tree that's got a sign on it and a balcony for people to take pictures and stuff. And there's a bunch of maps and just information there for people and trails going in every direction. I started down this trail. I didn't walk more than a minute, and it was just barren. Like, I'm one of the only humans in this forest. It's like the whole place is mine all of a sudden. I think I've encountered 4 people after walking almost 2 hours. Unfortunately, most people are not really in the best physical condition to walk out here. And this particular trail, I just got done walking uphill for about 1.5 miles, like the whole way. And but it's very relaxing now. And I talked earlier in the first video on this trip, I talked about how I've had an interest in California most of my life and have always wanted to come here. And that actually started when I was a child. I used to watch a TV show when I was a little boy called Captain Noah. And at the end of the show, Captain Noah would sing the chorus for the song, "This Land Is Your Land." From the redwood forests to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. And when I was older, I heard a version of that song from Bruce Springsteen, which is available on YouTube. And that's the first time I was made aware that that song actually has verses to it. And I didn't realize just how meaningful the words to that song are until you hear it. And when Bruce sang it, there's this introduction he gives to the song talking about how he considers it one of the greatest songs ever written about America. But then he talks about how some people may not believe that because of their circumstances, and he himself doubts that it applies anymore, but that it should. And then he proceeds to play this long, drawn-out, melancholy version of it. When I first heard it, it's almost like I wanted to cry, because I started to see the change in the American culture from when I was a child to where I was at that time. And now, even several decades after that, considering it even more, it's very impactful. And I've just been thinking about that quite a bit as I've been walking through this forest. You know, when you're out in nature and there's nobody else around to distract you, it gives you an opportunity to contemplate things that are actually very important but not popular to talk about. And something that's come to me in particular stems from what I said last night. I talked about a girl I met recently and how we're on the same page about relationships. And I realized that a lot of the contention that exists today stems from the simple fact that people are not on the same page about things. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that people are confused because they use words and they assume that the other person understands what they mean, because neither one of them can actually give a concrete definition for the words that they actually use. For example, people say I love you to each other every day, but how many people can actually define what love is in a substantial way and not just some ideological way that that isn't consistent with who you are or how you live? When people operate on these assumptions, it creates an opportunity for conflict to erupt. And it's kind of tragic when you see things like that happen. And I'm thinking about the conflicts that have erupted among people in the Hex community even. I know pretty much everybody who's what you could consider a major player in Hex, people that have been around since day one. And to see some of these people fight with each other publicly on Twitter and stuff, it's kind of painful to watch, because, if you're the type of person that is working on people being reconciled with one another and working together to accomplish great things, it's not beneficial to see things like that happen. And, I believe the solution to all that is that people simply be on the same page about something, anything. With me in particular, the reason I got into Hex was because it's been part of my life's calling for many years to become independently wealthy. And what that looks like is simply having a means of getting paid in your sleep enough that you don't have to sell your time in exchange for money to live off of. Once you've reached that point, then you're essentially free to do whatever you want with your time. And this is something that Liberty and I were talking about. That's the title, the handle of the guy who's the financial advisor that I met up with outside of Los Angeles at the beginning. He basically totally agreed with me. We both grew up poor, had to work for everything we've ever wanted in life. And simply being able to be in a place where you don't have to sell your time to live is sufficient. We don't need a lot of objects and things to try and impress people. We just want to live. And at the same time, that does require a certain amount of character. It requires commitment. It does require sacrifice. And a lot of people simply don't have those things available to accomplish that. I mean, if you ask someone, hey, would you like to be independently wealthy? Everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah. But how many people are willing to do what it takes to get there? Fortunately, we have a system in place that will facilitate that if people are willing to do what the system requires. And the system works the same for everybody. So it's not like people like me who got in day one have some kind of benefit where we're profiting at the expense of other people. Hex isn't designed that way. It works the same for everybody. It's just a matter of the price per share is programmed to appreciate over time by design. So, yeah, people who got in early managed to buy something cheaper that is designed to appreciate in value. So, anyway, these are some of the things that have been coming to me on this walk. But really, the key to it all is simply communication. If people are willing to just talk to one another, you know, it's okay if we don't like each other or if we don't believe the same things. You know, the bottom line is the truth is true, whether you like it or not. And some people have it and some people don't. And if a person can simply be at peace with that fact, everything else is supplementary. Everything else will just work itself out naturally if people are willing to talk. And, you know, that's about it. Yeah, I think that's enough for now. I hope you all are having a good day. It's been pretty incredible. You ought to come here sometime. It's worth it if you haven't been here before. You won't be disappointed. Especially if you like being out in nature. It's just, you can't beat it. So, anyway, enjoy. See ya.